Well, howdy, 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 ho. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. Yeah, I know, because I know how good you guys know me. Some of you out there are like, ooh, Loren, you're a little slow on the draw this Friday. It's Friday. Wait a minute. I said that about Monday, too, and Tuesday. I think Wednesday and Thursday. Listen, I'm old, okay? I am going to be slow. And plus, well, help me welcome to the show. I got contacted by her attorney at some point yesterday afternoon, right after the Sears guy called me. Our new microwave's coming today. Yay. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo is my sidekick, my best friend, always has been, always will be. She knows all my secrets and where all the bodies are buried, and I will never forget to introduce her ever, ever again. Happy? My goodness. I tell you what. These people in show business are something else. And how are you? I'm doing well. And you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Listen, I'm old. It's my show. It's Friday. It's this Corona thing. I am so desperate. Listen, here's something for you. Seriously, let me tell you how bad it's getting with me in the need for, real human interaction where you're like it used to be back in the good old days. I am not kidding you. I was watching something on my phone yesterday and somebody had a new emoji. Not like, you know how you can do those ones on the iPhone that kind of look like you? Well, somebody had one of those. I told Brian, he didn't even think it was funny because it was a male emoji, but it's an emoji. It's not a real person. Anyway, the emoji came up and I was like, ooh, you're cute. And I was like, oh my God, I'm serious. And he was a cute emoji. But anyway, this thing, what are you doing to hold on to your sanity? It's a little late for me, but I think there's still hope for the rest of you. Listen, I'm looking for my notes. Why? Because I tried to clean my desk up last night because I was trying to impress my guests today. And now I don't know where I put all my cue cards. Well, anyway, I'm going to try to wing it. I've only done it a million times. Anyway, I just want to say welcome to the show. Welcome to Friday. You have somehow slipped on a banana peel and found and landed your way right in the midst of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Loren Michaels Harris. And what we try to do here is have real conversations with real people about real issues. And that is why for season 4, I have introduced this new little contraption. It is the Bell of Purpose. Now, actually, I know some of you know the truth behind this. I actually ordered this so that I could control my husband when I was recouping from my knee replacement January, February. So this was supposed to be, I'm thirsty. Bring me something just for the hell of it. You get it, right? It didn't work one time. Not one time. And I knew I should have had bell training ahead of time, and he just wouldn't go for it. So now what purpose does it serve? It's the Bell of Purpose here on Bathrobe Moments, which means when our guests say something, did you go, ooh, now that is something. Now you really said something there. Something you can get behind, something you can sink your teeth into. Well, that's when you're going to hear this bell ring. It's your chance to do what we all want to do in life at some point, and that is be a part of something greater than ourselves. So that means when you hear something like that, throw some hearts on the screen, show some love, start a watch party. Invite someone to see what you're seeing, to learn what you're learning, to feel what you're feeling, right? Let it resonate, let it permeate, let it percolate. So when you hear the bell, just invite somebody. Say, come on over. You don't want to miss what's going on over on Bathrobe Moments. So Another thing that I'm kind of been sad about this week, other than the obvious, and I'm not really sad about that. Seriously, I was just kidding. This is new normal. It's just what it is. It is. I look at all the things that it's helped me to do. I have the most organized pantry I've ever had. My garage could win an award. Our street, all the landscaping on our street is better than it's ever been the whole time we've lived here. What else? I finally learned that it's not necessary to turn off the power and dust inside of all of the light sockets. I did that one day. Lord help me. But anyway, a lot of things got done, but I do miss my family, the ones that we would drive and visit in Michigan and whatnot. I miss that. I miss the babies. I really do. But anyway, I also am a little sad this week because, when, the shows you watch when you're growing up, and this one kind of was in my life, but it was before my time. Don't go there. And I'm talking about Leave It to Beaver. Ken Osmond, the gentleman, the actor who played the role of Eddie Haskell. He was like the kid who was always getting Wally and Beav in trouble. And he was kind of a little shyster. Always had an angle. But Ken Osmond, unfortunately, Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver passed away this past week. But it wasn't from COVID. So that's something. Right now it's like, and that's not funny, but you hear about somebody passing and they go, was it COVID? It's like, and then when you say, no, it was natural cause. Oh, it's like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like being a normal person and you die, but then some big famous star dies the same day and people forget you even were here. I'm telling you, it happens. But anyway, hats off to my sponsor. Thank you so much. We love you with everything we are. And that is symposium.us, where you can turn your content, your conversations, your talents, all the things and are good at. If you teach yoga on symposium.us. Right now, a lot of people are searching, looking everywhere for an additional stream of income. And you can get that over on symposium.us. There's everything from a 4-year-old named Lennon who's talking to other little toddlers about how he got over his nightmares thinking the germs were going to get mommy, all the way to Chef Carson. I know him from Top Chef Junior. There it is. You say it 5 times. He's teaching cooking classes over there. There's everything. I know it's a great place to add to your income stream. Why? Because I'm their top earner, and I've done it over 20 some times. So get over. All you have to do is go to Google Play Store or the App Store and download the app for US, symposium.us, and start turning your cell phone into what? A payphone. So anyway, one last announcement before I get these girls in here. Bring back my girls. That's from RuPaul's Drag Race, for those of you who are not as well-rounded as you need to be in your television watching. So, yes, they are about to lip sync for their life. That's another line from RuPaul's Drag Race. I hope I've gotten that shameless plug out of the way, and she sends me. No, don't send me nothing, RuPaul. I don't roll like that. So one last thing, this Monday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time that is in all the other time zones, because I'm not good at math. I count on my fingers. This is happening right here. Do you see this? May 25th. This is a special television presentation. It's a 60-minute special. Symposium is sponsoring it. Of course, it's through all of our platforms with E360, which is Roku, Amazon Fire, Android, all of them. Everything but HBO. Let's put that. I better not say that. I'll get sued. But anyway, it's all over the place. This is a great thing. It's a great conversation. If you look on the screen, you see 5 generations of men of color. And the reason I thought this would be a great idea was because as men of color, we do not talk about things that we need to all the time. It's just a cultural thing. What goes on in this house stays in this house. Well, right now during this pandemic, and this is for all of us, and there will be a female version 3 weeks from this coming week, where we are sitting down 5 generations, and we have a moderator who will also be here throwing questions at all of us. I'm in my 50s. Dylan Ali out of Milwaukee is in his 40s. DJ Brewer is 26. Our moderator is in his early 30s. This is Carson Peterson from Top Chef Junior. He's 15, and young Jordan from New Jersey is 13. So join us right here on Bathrobe Moments. That is this coming Monday, Memorial Day, the 25th. Hope to see you there. So who are these 2 divas I've been going on and on about? I was trying to figure out how we actually got connected. And I think it's a senior moment. It's the only reason I can't remember. So I'm going to cry senior moment. I play that card so many times. I better quit playing before I'll be walking down my cul-de-sac. Where's Smoky Court? You're on it. I mean, after all, it was last month. I was looking for my phone for an hour and I was already talking on it. Real story. But the ladies here are Claire and I'm going to butcher it. Oh Lord. Rachna. No, she's shaking her head. Rachna. Closer. She's shaking her head. Okay. These two ladies, as they will be referred to for the rest of this interview, hey you, I'm just kidding, have always enjoyed, we need a nickname for you. Rah. How's that? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I think there's a story there. These two girls have always enjoyed hearing stories about life. And although coming from completely different careers and sides of the Atlantic, they found a common interest in creating the opportunity for individuals to speak and to speak up and be heard, but also to listen and grow as a community through stories. The People Tree, now that's the name of this wonderful, wonderful thing you're going to hear about today. The People Tree started small, actually in one of their living rooms. You see how I did that? Skipped right over your name. In Our Lady's living room, bringing together a small group of friends and neighbors. But as the participation and the conversations grew, they realized that they needed a bigger space. The first shows in 2009 sold out to a capacity crowd of 80 people. This was pre-COVID, of course. Don't go reporting us to the you-know-who. The People Tree Storytelling Hub was on stage at Empire. Now, that's where I actually performed, at Empire. I'll get into it when we get in there. In front of crowds of up to 220 people. I'm going to show you a little clip here in a second so you can kind of get the vibe for it. So the People Tree storytellers have come from all over the Chicagoland area. Some are professional storytellers, but for the most part, they're just local people who have never told a story anywhere other than across a bar or dining table. Emphasis on bar. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Lord, it's Friday. We can loosen up, can't we? Homegrown stories are the heart of what this group does and what they're about, and so they just run free. They hold monthly workshops to help first-time and experienced storytellers prepare for the stage. Still, a lot of people I know, I talked to a couple that night I was there, use this platform to get over their fear of speaking in public. So, dump Toastmasters. No, not take that back. If Toastmasters isn't your thing, maybe the People Tree is. Okay, there. Politically correct from all angles. Every show has sold out, but it doesn't stop there. In 2019, the People Tree partnered with Tiffany DeRosiers. It just looked like it needed to be rolled, that name, to run community improv workshops. And Brian and I signed up for one of those and we're too scared and didn't go. Just keeping it real. Earlier this year, and they run storytelling workshops in the Naperville high schools. And apparently even though these women know how to put together a great thing, they don't know anything about what the phrase brief bio means. Okay, maybe they should start workshops on how to write a small book. I'm kidding. Okay, here we go. Because I can see they're going to run and not even come on the show. There's one. There's two. They're here. How are you guys?
Hello. Hi.
Cheers.
Okay, there we go. Cheers. Now go ahead and tell everybody, Rachna. Say it.
That works for me. That's perfect.
Rachna?
Let me call Rachna. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Rachna. Hi, ladies. Okay. Tell them about your mugs.
I'll start. So this mug, Namaste Bitches, seemed appropriate for this morning. First of all, welcome Namaste Yoga Calm Zen Bitches, because hey,
I know that's right.
Sometimes we're bitches. And this was given to me by originally Claire and I had a third founding partner for the People Tree, and this is a gift from her.
Aww.
And that's Sanjay's so cool here because she bought me this.
Oh wow. There's another one from Sanjay.
I have to drink lots of tea. Coffee's not my thing. The tea party and sinking our tea in the water. Not a good thing. In the water.
It's not wait. I can do your dialect. You want to hear it?
Let's go for it. Let's try.
It's not a cookie, mommy. No, wait, stop. Dang it. Start. Nobody saw that. It's not a cookie, mother. Never mind. You intimidate me. You know what it is? It's a what?
It's a biscuit.
It was a commercial. You don't remember that? Okay, I don't either. Somebody, what was that when they go, it's not a cookie, mother. It's a Fig Newton. There. Okay, so a biscuit is what you call a cookie because you are from
England.
England. And lady with the R, Rashna, I'm kidding. Where are you from? Tell us.
My family's from India.
You're from
but
India.
I was raised in Chicagoland, south suburbs, west suburbs now.
Okay. Okay, so how did two women from different sides of the Atlantic, different career paths, different everything, come together? And I mean it. You two are like sisters. I've watched you. I remember that day I came for the run through, and I was like, look at them over. That must be the ones who are in charge. And I heard you this morning in the green room, and you guys were just. You have so much fun. You have such a connection, and it is obvious in what you've built here. So tell us about how it all began, why you're doing it, and then I'm going to show a clip so people can have a firsthand look at what you guys have truly built, and it's something truly special.
Okay, so we first met by chance. Our sons were playing soccer together, and we were sat in the playground with our young daughters. And we got chatting, Rachna was very fun and interesting. And then we tried to figure out how we knew each other. We felt there was some kind of connection. And I'd never met Rachna in my life, but I bought her house from her. So then she invited me to, Rachna, do you want to take over?
Sure. In our neighborhood, what we found was a lot of people, there's a disconnect, these days, and has been for a while. We're all on social media and we're all Twittering and chatting and all Instagramming, but we're not really having a lot of in-depth personal conversations. Mm-hmm. And so we were finding more and more of that happening and that disconnect. So I started inviting people into my living room to share a story. And we're both fans of The Moth on NPR.
Oh, yeah.
And we love it.
Yes.
And so we were inviting people into our homes. We would do a theme, like a first date, and everyone has a first date story. Everyone can connect, and everyone had to share a 3-minute story.
Yeah.
Do a circle, they share a story, and it was so much fun. And then we decided to do a field trip.
So then we went into the city. We all piled into a van. There were 5 of us went into a van. We drove into Chicago because I wanted to see a show for The Moth. And when we got back, we said, we should do this. Our community needs this. This is so fun. So we thought, yeah, sure, we'll contact them off and do something with them. And then Rachna said, no, I think we should do this.
Your own.
So we founded the People Tree, and we've been going for 3 years now, Rachna?
3 years.
Yes, and we've had hundreds of storytellers from across our area. We've had some experienced storytellers and performers. Thank you, Loren. We also had friends and neighbours and teachers and principals and, people that we've worked with for months to get them the confidence and to get their stories together to get them on the stage.
And that's a great piece that I want to make sure people get to hear about today, because that surprised me. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you do for people. I work with people every day who have wanted nothing more their entire lives was to feel that the life they've lived was interesting, that the things they have done have matter. And you'd be shocked at how just a short story about those things being put out in the right tone that resonates can give someone something that I really look at it like this, not to be morbid or anything, but it's the truth. I really believe it's moments like people experience on your stage and as well as in the audience, just from a relationship aspect that, when everybody's time is going to come one day, but I know that there's going to be a trailer, if you will, of fond memories, highlights from our lives. And I know that what you do is creating one of those bleeps in that trailer, in that sizzle reel, if you will, for a lot of people. I know you gave me one because I'll always look back on that night. And you wouldn't, I know a lot of people go, but you do that all the time. No, not like that. Not like that. And there was, my career started from something like that with Listen to Your Mother, which is back there on the wall. But, and I see, Rachna, you probably are aware, you're familiar with Listen to Your Mother. Yeah, that was the very first stage I ever stepped on. And look at what it did for me, changed my life. And so I know you guys are changing people's lives, but let's talk about that. How did you know how to help people through some of the scariest, murkiest waters ever, which is getting in front of people and becoming vulnerable?
So there's a couple of, just one thing I wanted to add, because we were talking about The Moth and other community storytelling shows. And I think one of the things that Claire and I knew right away was that we wanted this to be community-based. It needed to be people who live here, work here, socialize here. Everyone has a story. It doesn't have to be someone who is coming from someplace else, coming to share their story, because we have our own stories.
That's right.
And it's finding those stories. And just one more thing, when you were talking about the sizzle reel of our lives, I think that's one of the things that people take away from this experience, and I know Claire and I have, which is we start seeing our lives differently too. We start seeing that it's made up of a lot of different stories, a lot of different connections. And that's a gift as well, just to be able to reflect on your own life and see the pattern, see the stories. And that's a gift.
That's right. That's right. Claire, you got anything to add to that?
I think the only other thing really to add is that the stories, if you say to someone, do you have a story? They think it has to be a massive story. It has to be like a life-changing event. And some of them are. My first story was talking about my son being diagnosed with leukemia. And just before the show, I thought, why on earth did I start with the biggest story of my life, the most scary story, the most personal story? But we've got stories from people in our audience who have thought, oh, I remember when I grew up in Japan and something strange happened, or I went to the grocery store with my kids and people kept talking to me. And so stories are every day. They're not once or twice a lifetime. A story is something that happened during COVID, during any other day of your life. And it's just noticing, observing, and verbalizing it, really.
It is so true. And, oh, my goodness, you guys, I'm sure but when I was preparing to come and do that, the word got around because I go to Rotary, and the way people, when they come up and they're like, oh my God, you're performing at the People Tree. It was like, I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh my God. And we were like, yeah, it's really in this community, the People Tree really means a lot to the people in this community. And I didn't know about it until it was time to do it. And when I was talking to Chris Cash,
I think they were on a mission for us to pay it forward in life, and that only penance. They were big on penance. My winter raincoat was like something that an evacuee kid would have hated wearing as they escaped the London Blitz in World War II. My summer uniform dress was royal blue with piping and a little belt. Not quite like this. But a nurse in the 1960s, I'm sure, would have been excited to wear it. And then there was my blazer. Oh, that was colourful. If you guys have ever seen anything on TV, I'm sure you're thinking of Harry Potter and the Hogwarts kids, plain and dark and boring. My blazer was scarlet red and canary yellow.
ooh,
And royal blue and grey stripes.
dang.
And my tie was similar but not quite the same. Shades of red and yellow and blue and grey. And I hated it. I really, really didn't want to wear it.
So you get an idea there. And the reason I chose that section was because I'm so envious.
I should be wearing it.
You have it still?
I do.
Where is it?
It's downstairs.
Oh my God, you should have. Because I'm like, what was a sleeve one color? And because there were so many different things going on. Oh my God, do your kids ever want to wear that for Halloween?
I did used to dress, because I can still wear it. It still fits me. So I had a friend model it at the show.
Okay, you just think you can just throw that out there, and just so everybody that's going, bitch, like, girl, right? Okay, because she's like, oh, how nice for you, just yes, and I can still wear it, and oh, must be nice. So anyway, moving on. How are you, Rasta?
I'm doing great. This is fun.
Just kidding. Good. So listen, Rasha, anyway, the reason I was saying I was envious because of the humor. I am so envious of who ran and got that. Oh my God.
My husband.
Wow.
What I mean about the colours, isn't it just beautiful? Wouldn't you love to borrow it, Loren?
No, it's making my eyes hurt.
right?
Wow. And so I'm assuming you at least had a solid navy skirt.
Gray.
Great. Okay, good. Okay, something done.
Yes.
So I'd be like, so how you doing? Looking down at your, my eyes are up here. So because I was saying that the humor, the ability to take a, Rashna, you're shaking your head. You know what I'm talking about. For me, it's not an easy thing. I'm always amazed at people who can just sit there and because if you put something out, something comes out of your mouth, like happens. I actually coach a couple comedians out of Chicago, and I ask them all the time, aren't you afraid that you're going to say something that's supposed to be funny and nobody gets it? Crickets, they go, it happens. But if you don't tell on yourself, nobody knows. So I'm like, oh, okay. Rashna, have you ever performed on your own stage?
I have. I've
Tell
done it
us
a
about
couple
your
of times.
experience. Yeah, tell us about your experience.
So, like Claire, my first story was a big traumatic experience. We all tend to go there, right? We go to the big moments in our lives and we think those are the stories. And so my big one was about the death of my brother. And it was good. I think it's good for Claire and I to sort of go through the whole process that our storytellers go through. So we know what it's like to create a story, go up there, have the jitters, have the fears. You asked earlier about big traumatic stories. How do you teach people or coach people through those? And one of the things that Claire and I talked about with our storyteller is that this is not about, it's not therapy. It's not a chance for us to sort of work through our own issues on the stage. It's sharing our experience with everyone else and finding some of those universal commonalities that pretty much anyone in the audience can kind of say, I haven't experienced that, but I understand. You're getting that empathy or making some connections. And that's what we do with the people who do have the big, big stories and have to work through it. A lot of it is just practice. If you practice it over and over again, we still want them to be authentic to that moment, but you don't want someone to dissolve on stage because it doesn't help anybody.
Right. I get it. Now you guys sell out, and it's hard to get tickets. People buy the whole season and come. It's just incredible. And what I didn't anticipate, which is with me now, which is why I can't wait till this thing is all over with, so things can get back to people tree time, was that I met so many people that night, and the way people were so friendly. I looked around. That's always a big thing to me because I stage a lot of events with my brand, and people were just, when you looked around, it was just a great place for people to connect, for people to feel. It was like the great equalizer. I guess that's the best way I could put it. I felt like I was in a room, and sometimes communities, the people within the communities feel like, oh, there's that group of people, there's that group of people. And it's great when you have places that people, that's a common place where people can all come together and feel like this is all of us. And that's the wonderful thing about stories. So I want to go back to a little bit to the beginning as you were growing. Was it ever scary? And did you ever doubt that, do we really want to do this, and it's going to take up all of our time? So, and how much of your time does it monopolize now, or ordinarily? I know it's probably different now with the pandemic and all, and the quarantine, but on a normal month, how much time do you both figure combined? How many hours would you say it takes from each of you to pull this thing off during the peak of season?
Probably takes about 60 hours a month, I think, each, probably.
Wow.
When you go to a show, we want it to seem seamless, that, oh, we call somebody, they get on the stage, they tell their story, thank you very much, and off they go. But the reality is, because we're trying to have community storytellers telling stories to the community, most of these people are first timers. So you asked earlier about dealing with fear, and a lot of the dealing with fear is preparation. So we do our workshops and we meet people for coffee, and
so smart,
and we speak on the phone. So multiply that by 8, because you have 8 storytellers. And then we have a pipeline. So we're obviously working on the next show, but then we're working also on the shows later in the year, because some people need a bit more time. And then we're trying to find new storytellers, going to different events and meeting cool people. So I think it surprised me how much time, and then obviously branding and marketing and updating our website, and that kind of thing. What do you think, Rasha? Similar for you?
Exactly. I think the best thing, we did this once. We sort of thought about our storytellers and how much time we spend, and I think we ended up thinking it was about 7 or 8 hours per storyteller over the span of time, but times 8 every single month. And then we also, have the false starts, people that we're not pursuing, but stories tend to come to us.
Yeah.
But then people also, we hear about people through you or through other people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We reach out and we have to explain what we do and why we're doing it. So there's a lot of different facets to it that, again, as Claire said, it's kind of seamless when you're on the stage. We're back here running around trying to put together the best show we can.
Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you this. Can you guys hear Alexa in the background?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. You can hear her. She starts talking. Well, because she gives me Corona, because I'm sitting here all day. So she gives me Corona updates, not updates about the virus, but for me, it's time to take a walk, have a drink of water, or stretch. Because I'm serious. I'll get stuck behind the screen. Like, oh, there she is calling me. Hold on. Alexa. I'm just kidding. It's not. Let me ask you about this. In all the time that you guys have been doing this, have you ever encountered what only thing I can think of to call her or him is like the runaway bride? The one who they're there, all their family and friends are there. They're a couple people away from going up and they say, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. Have you ever had anybody say, I've got to back out at the last second? You had to talk them off the ledge?
We haven't had that. I think we haven't had that because that's what, they're all their families and their friends. They've bought tickets. They're there and they're there to cheer them on.
Yeah.
I think once people get to this show and you sort of saw this, there's an energy, there's a support. People are cheering and people might forget their words, but everyone rallies around and lifts them up. And it becomes this amazing experience that you do have to get up on that stage and behind that mic to get that. But once you do, I think a lot of people are amazed by the energy.
Well, I think that's a true testament. Oh, I'm sorry, Claire, go ahead.
I want to say the week before, we always kind of touch in on the Monday because the show is always a Thursday, and we go through a lineup of storytellers and say, how are we feeling? Do we think everybody's ready? We have had some people drop out that week for whatever reason.
Okay.
Health, work, travel, family, sometimes nerves. But generally, as Rashna said, once they get to the show, the family's behind them. You feel the energy. You must have felt this, Loren. You feel the love in the room, the support in the room. We've had the mic go down and the crowd is cheering, go on, you can do this.
That happened the night I was there.
Yes.
The mic went out and the person just kept going like nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, you'd think these people were professional speakers. I mean, you couldn't tell, but my hands were underneath the table. Just there's probably a pool of sweat down there that somebody said, what happened down here? Obviously that guy didn't wear his Depends, but I was nervous only because, but in that good way, that thing where I try to find something at least once a day to incorporate into my routine that makes my heart pound a little bit faster. I call it my spiritual and emotional pulse check, to make sure that I'm not just becoming complacent and laying back on things that are comfortable. And that night did that for me in a big, big way. My husband was like, why are you so nervous? Because he was trying to talk to me and laugh and eat. And I was like, leave me alone. I was like, how many more people? Right. And then once I got up there, I'll be honest with you, I started feeding off of the joy and the love of the two people in front of me. As I got and then that was another thing that helped me. The stories were so good that I didn't have time to sit and think about, you'll sit there and you hear something muffled way away because they're up there and okay, I'm coming up. And I know people think this is crazy, but you never get over the fear of becoming the new Cindy Brady. Remember when the red light came on and she was like,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's just so many different energies is the best way I can say it, just going in so many directions, not just that night, but leading up to it for those who are considering doing it. And I would highly recommend anyone who has ever drawn a breath. So that's all of us to give this opportunity a good once over. or maybe even twice over, because it can change your life. And so let me ask you this. Do you know this one? Here's a little trivia. Some people treat trivia for you. Any idea how old was your oldest storyteller? And if you say me, I swear to God, I'm pulling the plug on this show.
Wasn't you? I think he was 85, wasn't he, Asha?
Well, there was the JFK story or the marathon guy. The JFK, yes, so 85.
85 years old. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And what about youngest?
14.
14. So is there a minimum age?
Really? Sorry. I'm just going to say it comes down to content. So because some of the stories can have content that we wouldn't want young kids listening to.
Oh, good point.
16 plus. You know, some people are dealing with violence. There's all kinds of things that really just for the audience to be able to feel comfortable and relaxed, that it's for adults. That's really what we recommend. If we have mature younger kids who want to come with a parent, then that's okay. But we wouldn't recommend younger than 14.
And there's the flip side to that as well, which is we want the storytellers to be able to tell their stories without over censoring it, because sometimes life is complicated, and they should be able to tell their story in an environment that will listen.
That's so smart. You guys are just so smart. Were you always so smart? Or was it something in the Naperville water? Just kidding. You know, and you see Christina Cash. Remember I mentioned her earlier, the one who's like, what? How come I don't? This is the it girl, y'all, for real. So you might want to think about when it's opened up for business full speed ahead again, you're probably going to have 2 shows in a night, because she's going to tell everybody and their mama. I'm just letting you know. As she should. As she should. This is, and that's another thing. When you describe, I don't know if you guys even get to see this part of it all, the stuff that happens behind the scenes when you guys aren't around, but it's your baby. When you tell someone, every time I've told someone about the People Tree experience and they don't already know about it, they look at you like, and you're just now telling me why? You know, like I'm the reason. That's how Chris was. I thought she was going to slap me. Like, you mean to tell me this has been here all along and I don't? Dang, Chris, you know, I mean, because they automatically feel cheated, because people know when something is a great experience or the potential therein lies. So let me ask you this. Have you ever considered, or has anyone ever reached out and said, hey, can you do one of these in our community?
I've had a couple people who've asked for, like in other states, have said, how do we start this in our community? And, you know, we've told, what we're doing is I think it's special because it's our people. It's you know, we work together. And I think one of the things we always say is, Loren, I don't know how you do what you do, because it takes Claire and I to do this together. And so the number one thing we always say is find a great partner or partners, because it's hard to work in that style, especially with something as social as this is and as many faceted as this is. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing as well as we are, is because we work so well together.
You really
we complement each other. It's complement in our skills and just our personalities, and then just taking that first step.
And I think more dig into the people who count to you, your friends, your family, your connections. You know, because it's so enriching to see how our community has grown. And as you said from Claire, how we're at Empire because it's a huge space. So you might go as a 2, but you join the table of 6 and you make 6 new friends.
You sure do. That happened to us.
Yeah. So we're trying to enrich our community. We're trying to get people out. We're trying to start conversations. We're trying to continue conversations. There could be somebody in the neighborhood who has part of the story, but you don't know the whole story. But when you hear the whole story, you see that person differently.
You sure do.
So I think start with people who count to you and involve them. You know, we're now obviously with COVID, we're doing 1 show a week virtually with 1 storyteller.
And how's that working?
It's fantastic. So we picked upbeat stories. Obviously, at this time in life, we're trying to create a fun little bubble. So we've had a lot of humor. We've had funny or interesting stories. We had a storyteller on Sunday, Jeannie Coe, who told her story about discovering her birth father. And I know, Loren, you've had a similar experience.
I saw the promo for that.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the questions afterwards, and people came on who'd been adopted, or parents were adopted, or had adopted kids and had questions. And it was so lovely to bring the community together and give people a chance to connect and have a conversation.
Well, how interesting. Because, you know, when I saw that you guys were doing it in a virtual space, I was like, wow, you know, because as a speaker, I know that a certain amount of what we do, even in the construction of the content, has a lot to do on anticipating what the audience will do, how it will resonate, and what it will give you back. Sometimes we need what we can count on you all providing just to get through and to keep you on track. So I was wondering how it bodes where your storytellers aren't actually in front where they can hear the laughter. They can't hear the, ooh, all the little triggers that let a person know, see, you're doing it. Keep going, keep going. But obviously it's working. And I love this other piece of it, this other component where people can now give feedback right there in the virtual space. So how is this something you might think you would consider continuing in its own space in a different kind of way once we are still able to go to the actual on in-person stages?
We're open to we're trying, we're experimenting, we're seeing what works and what people respond to and what seems to connect them.
Right
now, this makes sense. There might be another version of this when we can all actually see each other and be connected physically.
Yeah.
But the salons are something that are especially dear to our hearts because it kind of takes us back to our roots, which is starting conversations. And in a larger space, it's difficult to do that, except within your own table. And so I think we would love to be able to continue doing salons and maybe in person, where it's a smaller, more intimate group.
I love it.
Where you can still, and you have direct access to the storyteller and can have those conversations. Just one more thing, because the restaurants, the venue, I think it's important as well. Claire and I could have gone to a larger space where it was more of an audience style seating, but I think we purposely wanted a place where people could see each other and have conversations at tables,
and have great dinner,
rows and rows of people.
Yes,
and a person on a stage. There's that distance.
It was, but you know what it felt like? Once I was on the other side of mine and like had dinner and stuff. It was like a combination of a comedy club, a dinner theater. So it was all of those things, both of those things on steroids. Just really, really fun. I hated to see the evening come to a close, but that's how you want it. It's like a cliffhanger. Still, you still have the aftertaste in your mouth there where you want some more. And the thing about stories is it connects us all to relationships and it brings us together to create new relationships. So it, when you help people remember things, you're doing a great service. So I want to ask this now. This hour flies by. We're in the last lap, but what can you take us down the process? So a person is watching right now and they're like, well, I wonder what all it takes. And does everyone get picked? What's the vetting process? Can you take us a little bit through that? What the first step would be, and how long does it usually take to help a person hone that perfect story so that they're stage ready?
I'll let Claire do it because everything that she says sounds so much more elegant.
Yes, it doesn't it though?
Well, thank you. No biscuits in this story.
Right.
So obviously people are coming from different places. So we could have a Loren, we could have someone who writes a lot of material, someone who's a teacher, someone who's a performer. But we'll just cut through all of that. So all we need somebody to do if they're interested is to look at our website, and each show is organized by theme. Yes, thepeopletree.org.
Yes.
And if you go on there, you just need to submit a small story outline. So obviously at the moment, things are a little bit up in the air with COVID. We were supposed to have shows till May. In fact, last night was just supposed to be our last show. And then we're hoping September, October, November, but we'll see.
We'll see.
So sticking with plan A, our themes are on the website. So you pick a theme, which could be, like last year's school. And you might say, oh, I have a story for school. So you submit your story outline to the website. It comes through to us, and then we will read it. And it's always kind of a weighing up process, because when you come to a show, Loren, you wouldn't want 8 really funny stories.
Right.
Uniform. If it's school, you might want one on catching the bus, or a crazy teacher, or fart spray, or you know,
Right.
that was an awesome one. So we have to kind of balance the content in terms of what it's about, and the humor, the sadness, the pensive moments of the story. So you submit that. We see if we think it's going to be a good story, if it fits with our lineup, and then we will reach out to the storyteller and try to get more information. So usually it will be a phone call, because the submission page will ask for a cell number and email, and we will just ask for more information and see. Sometimes it's just a very short story. Our stories are typically 8 minutes, so that's kind of 7 to 9.
Yeah.
So if it's a 3-minute story, then it's not really going to work. And if it's a 20-minute story, then it might work. We just need to squish it a bit. So once we talk through the story, we will then, in normal times, invite somebody to a workshop. So they will come to the workshop and say, hey, here's my story. Have you guys got some feedback? So we typically have 6 other storytellers in the room, plus Rachna and me. So we will give feedback and say, we love this element. Great Aunt Maud doesn't add anything to the story. Let's cut that out. Maybe start the story here. It doesn't have to be an A, B, C pattern. It might be a B, A, C. Jump in time, start, present, go back, and finish. And obviously focus on the ending. But the main message we always have for our storytellers is, what is one sentence that summarizes your story? When you go home and you speak to your partner and you say, hey, I went to this show and I heard these stories, every story will come down to one sentence. So just to make sure you have
the takeaway, the memory, the what lands and resonates. Absolutely. Now, I know that there are, because I saw it at the rehearsal, the run through. I was amazed that, because there was this one girl, she had every single word of her 8-minute speech memorized verbatim. And I always find that amazing, because I'll have like a skeletal outline, like a bullet point thing. I'm big on cue cards. You know what I mean? Backstage. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And another thing too, what is so wonderful about this, I want to point this out so people know, you'll never see anybody using a PowerPoint or something like that as a crutch. Now, I will ask this though. Have you ever had a storyteller that brought, a prop, something to help tell the story? This hat, let me tell you about the heads that have been inside this hat. That kind of thing. Have you ever had that? Is that allowed?
When I was telling my husband about this show, and I told him that you're going to be, this is your show. The first thing he said was, oh, the one who brought the photo of his mother. And
I did, didn't I?
You did. That's the
forgot
first thing.
About that.
And then we've had a couple of others. We have this other woman who brought her jacket, her school uniform. That was cool.
Okay. And see, that's another great thing. Oh, you're okay. Yes. And then as she started, the disco ball lowered from the ceiling, right? So
I think generally, in answer to that, we discourage it. So unless it's very pertinent to the story, it can be distracting, it can fall off, it's not there at the right moment.
Yes.
So we generally say stories from memory. So we said 8-minute stories from memory and no props.
Yeah.
Unless very relevant. Because also 8 props a night, and then you've got to stage manage everything and get everything in the right place.
And it turns into something else, more of a different kind of a production.
And we don't want to distract.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, can you tell us, I'm very interested in this because I love it. And I wonder how you came about it. Where did the name come from? The people tree.
So the people tree, there's actually a tree in Asia it's spelled P-E-E-P-U-L, people. And it's a huge, it's part of the banyan family. If you're familiar with those trees, they're huge.
Do they have those twins named Ima and Uma, I think, that family?
I don't know.
I'm kidding. Got her.
I haven't had my coffee yet.
Yeah.
So a banyan tree is this huge canopy tree in Asia. And because it has such a huge canopy, the ground underneath it doesn't have vegetation. It's usually just dirt.
It's your logo.
So in these hot countries, people go gather underneath these trees, and they might be playing cards. They might be having conversations. It's a place for a village. It provides shade. It provides shelter. And it's just a gathering place. So we love that, and then Claire and I, the house where she lives, it's on
Yeah.
Buttonwood, which is a tree, and we like to walk in the arboretum. So the trees seem to be coming up a lot, and so the people tree just kind of all made sense to us. It made sense.
I
to us.
get it. So that's the logo. Is that the tree? That's an actual people tree in the logo. See what I'm saying?
It's faces in the trees. So we wanted the conversation. If you look at it closely, I don't know if you can see.
Really?
Oh, look, me too.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I feel left out.
Talking
Oh,
to each other in the tree, and then it's a tree. So that's
that's awesome. Well, and another thing is right there, just a point for the people watching. Even in the building of this wonderful organization, which is a nonprofit, even the name has a story with it. And the wonderful thing I just want to say as we get near the end, so people don't think we're just talking about, I don't want anyone to miss the life-changing opportunity that lives within telling a story, hearing a story, sharing a story, and remembering a story. Our stories are the only things that will be here after we are long gone. A lot of us think that proof that we existed primarily exists in the swirls known as fingerprints, or that DNA that we can leave anywhere in the universe that can be traced back as proof that each of us has existed. Well, unfortunately, when we return to where we came from, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, those two things, our DNA and our fingerprints, will go with us. It is only our stories that have the opportunity to live on, to heal on, to encourage, uplift, and change the lives of others, because they are proof that we were here. They are proof that we have fallen, but they are more proof that we got back up. And that's the important part. So I really encourage each of you to find the courage to look over your shoulder and bring yourself back to those moments, those wonderful moments in your life where you were living something that can change the world. You won't know if you don't go back to the scene. Go back and remember yourself to the different versions of yourself and those people. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that I don't want anyone to miss. And I am just so grateful to you two ladies for what you have done. It's a shame there aren't like 5,000 of each of you, so that we could just spread the people tree all over the world, because it would be such a better place if everybody could experience just one night of the people tree. And I truly mean that. I got to ring the bell of purpose on that. Tell us what's next. We know you have a Facebook. Give us all of the different places. Here it comes, everybody. Give us all the places that people can find you, and how, if they want to ask personal questions, is there an email? What's the best way to continue the dialogue with you two?
Well, there's three ways. One would be to visit our website, which you already posted up there, thepeopletree.org.
Yes.
They can also, when they go on our website, they can sign up for a newsletter. So they'll be notified anytime we're doing something new, or we're talking, whatever's going on in our world. And then we also have our Facebook page, which we keep updated as well. And that's when you go on Facebook, just look up Naperville People Story. Oh, I'm sorry, Naperville People Tree.
Okay.
And you'll find us.
Yeah.
Those are the main ways.
Okay, awesome. And the next salon experience is there another, or are we done?
There is, no. So we're planning to keep this rolling. We have one this Sunday. We have Frank Napoli telling his story about his crazy Great Dane called Largo, who created a very interesting situation.
Okay, without I'm sitting here going, go on, but you can't, because that would be considered a spoiler. Excuse me. I want to say too, you guys use the connector, use the link, go over and check it out. You